Okay, so mana per level is increased from 32 to 35. Okay, no, Mr. Please. Mr. Please. Leave Mr. Okay, so mana per level, 32 to 35. Mana regeneration per level increase 0.4 to 0.65. So I don't really... what does this do? It gives her one more W volley inside of lane? Like, realistically, that's it, right? Realistically, that's all that happens. Caitlyn, mana per level increased from 35 to 40. Mana regeneration per level 0.55 to 0.7. Again, this is also probably giving her one extra Q per... maybe for Caitlyn, it actually gives her 2. Actually, no. Maybe for both of them, it gives them 2. Maybe it gives them 2 of their main like volleys. Mana regeneration per level increased 0.65 to 1. That's really big for Ezreal. Jhin, Deadly Flourish mana cost reduced 50 to 90 to 50 to 70. This is fine because he... it's pretty fine, but like again, he doesn't get access to this until like mid game or something. Doesn't really do a whole lot. The mana cost on captive audience. This is his last maxed ability, so it literally does nothing for Jhin. So again, this is like a very big placebo buff. We move on to Jinx. Base mana is increased 245 to 260, and then mana per level increased 45 to 50. For Jinx, what is this actually doing? Giving her a free zap or something? Oh, okay. Well, her W. Okay. So her W mana is also going down. Kai'Sa base mana, okay, base mana rounded up by negligible. Okay, so basically every AD carry is getting like, they're trying to give every AD carry at least 1 to 2 additional spell weave of their primary ability. That's the way that this should actually be interpreted. For these changes. The base mana region on Twitch is really big because of support Twitch, as well as like mid Twitch and like everything else like that. So the base mana being increased by 13 is like okay, and then the mana regeneration being increased as well. This is actually a big deal for support Twitch. And then mana regeneration per level increased on Xayah is by what? Is it by 0.5? Okay, so that's whatever. Orianna, we've already looked at the changes yesterday. We talked about why they are placebo changes and why they don't really do a whole lot. And then Zoe. Sleepy Bubble Trouble now reduces magic resistance by 20 to 30% against sleeping targets. Clears upon waking up. Okay, so clears upon waking up. So it's basically for the immediate impact, which is fine. So Sleepy Bubble Trouble, this is really big in early laning phase. It's actually pretty big. Anytime you land a bubble in laning, it's quite actually a lot of extra damage. And then obviously in the mid game and the later stages, it doesn't change Zoe's play pattern, but it also helps out any of Zoe's allies. So for Zoe's support, this is definitely a lot better as well. Annie, okay. So these are the changes to Annie that are known. So Pyromania stun is now primed on game start and respawn. That's actually really good. That's really, really good for invades. You don't have to start W. I mean, you can, but obviously just starting Q is going to be totally fine now. For like mid lane Annie, mid lane Annie, AD carry Annie, etc. Starting Q is going to be totally fine on game start for invades. Mana regeneration per level is also very helpful, getting that 0.2. Annie doesn't really have mana problems in laning phase, but now it feels a little bit, it doesn't feel as bad when you do elect to poke people. So, I mean, that's fine. Okay, shield AP ratio increased 35% to 55%. Now it can only reflect damage once per target per shield, okay. Tibbers duplicated shield counts as a new shield. Okay, damage reflect increased 20 to 60 plus 20% AP to 30 to 90 plus 40%. That's very good. Damage reflected from ability hits and auto attack. That's a massive buff. Does not trigger on dots already in progress. And then Summoned Tibbers. Tibbers HP now has an AP ratio of 75%. Tibbers resistances now have an AP ratio of plus 5%. Tibbers move speed increased 350 flat to 350 to 400. So what I think that this ends up meaning is that, yes, I think that like the combat battle mage version of Annie probably does end up coming back, where Annie maybe just wants to play for utility for the teammates because she's still going to have enough damage to nuke someone, although the nuker variation of Annie is still going to be viable, and that is something that people should keep in mind. So, I mean, I think that that's totally fine. I think these types of changes are very good. Definitely do like this. Some other changes. We just have like system changes. Okay. So Demonic Embrace, Chemtech Dragon Soul, damage and damage reduction increased. Damage and damage reduction increased 10 to 11%. Very negligible. So Chemtech Life, Tenacity, Heal, and Shield Power increased from 5% to 6%. That's, I mean, it's negligible, but, you know, whatever. So the Tenacity change is interesting because the Tenacity change to the Legend Tenacity thing. Black Cleaver, AD has increased by 5. HP increased by 50. Nothing else. That's a very big change to Black Cleaver. That's a massive buff, actually, for Black Cleaver. Black Cleaver is quickly becoming a mythicless, or like a mythic in its own right. Blade of the Ruined King, Siphon nerfs, magic damage reduced 40 to 150 based on level, based on level, to 40 to 103 based on level, 9 to 18. Cooldown increase 20 to 30 seconds, okay. This is all fine. Eclipse, Omnivamp removed, 7% to 0%. Okay. Ability haste added 15. The Omnivamp not being there is really not the end of the world. Honestly, the ability haste is probably more valuable. I think that you would always actually take the ability haste over the 7%. This is also really big for Varus. People have to keep this in mind. Ever Rising Moon shield cooldown reduced 8 melee, 16 range to 6 melee, 12 ranged. Build path change, Serrated Dirk plus Longsword plus Vampiric Scepter. Serrated Dirk plus Caulfield's Warhammer, okay. This is all fine. Goredrinker Mythic passive change, 7 ability haste to 50 HP plus 3 ability haste. So this is the legendary, right? I think this is a lot better. Getting the extra HP is greater than the 4 ability haste. Ravenous Hydra Omnivamp is totally removed. Lifesteal is now added to 10%. That's fine. The Omnivamp is actually really good on the item, so this does feel a little bit bad, but a lot of the champions that do build Ravenous Hydra are using Lifesteal anyway, and so the Omnivamp is not like super big, but it definitely does hurt Graves, does definitely hurt Alawi. Cleave now applies Lifesteal. That's very good. Ability haste is increased by 5. Okay, Maw Malmortius lifeline effects are changed 10% Omnivamp to 12% Lifesteal. AD increased 55 to 65. Ability haste removed. Okay, that feels bad. Build chat changed. Okay. AD is increased as, okay, my food did just arrive here. Please, guys, I'm not gay. Okay, so, Overheal Shield adjusted 10 plus 9% max HP to 20 to 300 based on level. Wait, that's a buff. That's a buff for all of the ADCs. That's a buff for all ADCs and all, yeah, that's a huge buff. That's a huge buff for all ADCs. It's a huge buff for all ADCs. It's a huge buff for everyone that uses, Overheal. That is really, really, really big. Cost reduced down by 200 on Bloodthirster, very big. Lifesteal reduced 18% to 15%, that's fine. Ichor Shield adjusted 50 to 320 to 180 to 450. These are huge buffs. These are really big AD carry buffs and really big solo lane buffs for champions that use like the Negan Lifesteal type build. Infinity Edge, Perfection required critical strike chance 60 to 40%. This is going to change things, I think. So I think that people will rush IE and then go double crit cloak, and so you'll basically just have a stat stick originally, and then you'll get the 2 crit cloaks, and then it'll be online, and that'll be very, 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 very good, and then you'll build into items. Transcendence required a critical strike chance 60 to 40% is also another very massive change. 80 on Lord Dominic's is going up by 5, Essence Reaver 45 to 55, and then cost increase 28 to 29. Is also another, I mean, these are all really fine. I think having 100 extra gold costs in exchange for getting an additional 10 AD, I think is very, 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 very good. Tenacity adjustments, stacks multiplicatively, okay. Grievous Wounds PB changes subject to change. Oblivion Orb, Oblivion Orb, AP reduced 35 to 25, okay. Grievous Wounds value increased by 25% to 40%. So this makes the item a lot worse to purchase early on. The item as a standalone is not going to be as good now when you consider like just the power that you get with like Blasting Wand in lane. Chemtech Putrefier build path changed. Bandleglass Mirror plus Oblivion Orb plus Forbidden Idol plus Oblivion Orb. Grievous Wounds application changed 25% on magic damage and 40% when healing/shielding to 40% on any damage dealt. It is unclear if allies still can apply Grievous Wounds when healed and shielded. Okay. If anyone knows what the case is, please inform me. Okay. Ability haste reduced 20 to 15. AP reduced 60 to 40. Heal shield power added 0% to 8%. That's very big. Because generally, so the 8% is actually really big for all the enchanters that build this. The ability haste being reduced a little bit sad. AP reduction doesn't really matter because, again, the 8%, will eventually end up overriding the 20 loss, and so this is really good. Morellonomicon. So let's take a look at the build path difference. Build path change from Blasting Wand, Ruby, Oblivion Orb to Hextech Alternator, Amplifying Tome, Oblivion Orb. Okay. So now you'll just go Alternator over Oblivion Orb in laning phase. That's actually what you're going to do if you're trying to get Morello or something. Grievous Wounds application change from 25% on magic damage increased to 40% below 50% to 40% on magic damage. Okay. Cost increased, well, wait, cost is up 500 though. Fuck. HP down by 100, but you get 10 magic pen. So in games where you're gonna build Morello, it's now a lot better of an item, but in general, the building into the item feels a lot worse, and that's the way that it should be viewed. Bramblevest Thorn, damage increased from 4 to 6. Grievous Wounds value increased from 25 to 40%. Very nice buff for Bramblevest, very good buff for Ramus. Thorn's armor ratio increased 20 to 25%, very big for Ramus, and then armor increased from 60 to 70 as well. These are really big changes. Executioner's Calling 15, Grievous Wounds increased. These items are terrible. Never build these items. Mortal Reminder build path is changed. Total gold cost is up by 400. Move speed is removed. Attack speed removed. Armor penetration is a flat 30%. Wow. And so now, again, this is just like Morello. Like when you do need Grievous Wounds, you are just going to get Mortal Reminder if you're going to be the one doing that instead of just going Lord Dominic's Regard, and these are really nice changes. So all in all, 13.2 seems to have everything inside of it that preseason should have had but didn't, and this is a massive, massive patch, and I think everyone's going to be really happy with this patch. AD carries are definitely going to be a lot stronger, and so are ADC solo laners with a lot of these changes. The Black Cleaver change is really big as well, so people should keep that in mind. The Annie changes are very, very good, and aside from that, we don't really have too much going on. So that is all for that. This is a freak diff. We're getting freaky. It's going to be a Freaky Friday when Freak is finally there.